Hi, this is Melinda Valent. I'm going to be going through setting up a floor plan so it's ready for printing. Right, so you can see I've got a model ready to go, and I've actually created by right-clicking on sheets and going new sheets and adding an A3 sheet and then dragging on the floor plan onto that sheet. So from Project Browser, dragging it on. Now, in setting up a floor plan, there's quite a bit to add to make sure that it's ready for printing. First off, it has to be at 1:100. For the purposes of this assessment, you actually need to set it up as 1:100. You're going to print off 2 copies of this floor plan. One is going to go into your portfolio, and the other one is going to be used for your model. And go onto the large master plan on the wall. So because you're going to need to have that model at proper scale, and also, you need to see as much detail as possible, it should be at 1:100. All right, now once you've brought your floor plan or ground floor or whichever it represents your floor plan as best as possible, you need to do a few things to set up. So a few things will probably be a little bit wrong. So there could be things like this label could be sitting in the wrong place. So if you deselect everything and just select the label, you can move the label into a spot that makes sense. Also, these different cameras, these circles with little arrows on them, those are cameras. If I was in level 1 and I double clicked on those, which I can do here by right clicking and activating view. So I'm actually working in level 1, but looking at the sheet behind me. I can actually double click on that little arrowhead and see what the camera is looking at. So I'm just going to go back into my floor plan. Okay, so now in this, these are often sitting off the page, but we need to have them on the page because we're going to reference these cameras in a later sheet. Okay, so if this is sitting, whoops, just undo. I've got to activate my view. If this is sitting somewhere off here, you need to activate your view. And while you're looking at that view on your drawing sheet, on your title block sheet, you need to move this. So if you click it once and select it, and then you hover on it to bring up that 4-way arrow, you can move the whole view so it's sitting in a position that will be on the sheet and can be, it's still looking at the same elevation. It's going to be important also, if you just click once on that little arrowhead, you might see this line. This line actually, see another line down the bottom, that represents the span of the camera. So if this was sitting over here like this, it would change what the elevation was looking at. It would actually be more of a section. So it's still going to be looking, the front of that camera still needs to be sort of sitting probably over the top is probably safe. And then if this extent of the camera, it doesn't really need to be as long as it is. But if I sat it there, it wouldn't actually see this wall. So it does need to be the full sort of floor plan. Okay, so just checking that that's still in place. You can do that for the others. So if I just check this one, just check the arrow. It's sometimes tricky just to select the arrow by itself. If I click on the number, it usually comes up. Sometimes it selects a circle. Sometimes you gotta be careful about where you click. So I can see here that's set up properly. And this one, that's fine. And this one also fine. Okay, so just double check when you bring those, when you move those camera views around, that they're still looking at the side of your house. And now they're sitting on my sheet, so I'm happy with that. Okay. Another thing I need to double check is that my detail level is set at medium. I could set it at fine, and it gives me a few more details around the door trims and things like that. But at 1 to 100, it's not going to be that easy to see all that kind of detail. You need to make sure it's not set on coarse, basically. Coarse removes all of that information regarding the type of wall that you've placed. So make sure it's either on medium or fine detail so you can see the wall types. Okay, so once you've got those things set up, okay, let me just zoom out here. Just a note, the property line, it doesn't matter where the property line is. In fact, in this setup, you probably want to get rid of it because it's a distraction. I can actually turn the property line off just for this view. So I could just right click on the property line while I'm still activated the view, and I could actually just say hide in view. Okay, hide element. All right, now that would just mean that it's hidden in that view. But if I went back to my site plan, it still exists. Just moving that, it still exists, it's still there. It's just that I'm hiding it in this particular view because it's not relevant and it's just a distraction, and also it might be sitting over the top of my title block, so I don't actually need it there. All right, so one more thing that you need to add, actually two more things. You need to add a north symbol and you need to add dimensions. So let's add a north symbol, let's add dimensions. Okay, so under annotate, you will find symbol. And the first one it brings up is north, which is fairly handy. So I am going to place north. It's usually down near the title block because it's part of that information. You might even want to put it in the title block for this. I do, I've actually not got this activated. So the north symbol will only appear in my title block. It's a little bit big, but I can fit it. There we go. I can also rotate it if it's not sitting properly north. So if I wanted to change that rotation, so that's north. So I'm going to imagine that's north, and that's just going to sit in my title block for this. So you can see it's not in any of the others. It's just in that sheet. All right. Now, the other thing I need to add is some dimensions. So again, up the top, if we've got annotate, you can see there's a few different kinds of dimensions: align, linear, angular. Let's go for aligned, and I'm going to put some dimensions on this model. There's a lot of conventions for dimensioning that I won't go into here. I don't want to put it on this sheet only. So I'm going to actually go back to level 1 and put it here on my actual floor plan, and that will just appear on the sheet. So I'm going to do an align dimension so I can reference my model. So I'm going to do the very exterior of the wall. I could be doing like the core of the wall and potentially the interior. See here, it's got where I can choose, so center faces, so wall faces. So now I can choose the inside if I just wanted to do the inside of the rooms, but I'm just going to go for the outside. So I'm going to go for that one. I click on that one, and I'm going to click here. Okay, and I'm going to place that. I'm not going to go too wacky and go too far from my model. I'm not going to go on the inside of my model. I'm just going to place it just outside my model. And I'm going to do some others. So here's another one. And you can see now I click that. If I just line that up, you can see that that is telling me it's lined up. So I might actually just place that. So yeah, that one. And then I can just click and place that. All right. Now I don't need any more. I don't need like an overall dimension now that I've got that and that, because adding those together gives me the overall dimensions. You never over dimension anything. You only give as much information as needed to make the proper calculations to give you all the information. You don't don't double dimension. All right, so that is how you dimension on your model. You do need dimensions that give the key information. So I've still got some more dimensioning to do, such as from here to here. Now, the shorter dimensions always go on the inside of my longer dimensions. So I'm going to have to sit that one out a little, because if I want to do some other dimensions that go, you know, that break up this space, then I need to put them on the inside of the longer dimension. So I'll do one more. So I might actually, you know, do aligned again and go from there to there. And I can sit that on the outside of my house. And then I might just keep going and click there and go back to here and yeah, put those in line. So I can actually see now that I've got some dimensions for those spaces. All right, now I could keep going and there's a lot of dimensions you could place. You should place as many as reasonable to give the information of the setup of your model. Okay, now if I go back to my level 1 floor plan, there it is. I've got a nice ready to go sheet. All my labels are in. I've got all the information. I've got a north symbol. I've got my dimensions. At this time, I need to export a PDF. So I go export PDF, okay? And that is going to be the current window. Actually, we could even go selected sheets, and that would be this one. And make sure that you know where you're going to be placing it. And project 1, I can go browse and put it into my folder. Okay, so in there, and I need to, yeah, that's okay. And I need to give it a name. Okay, so floor plan. All right, so I've given it a name, fit to page. Yep, all the rest looks fine. Hide reference work planes, scope boxes, hide crop boundaries. I'm going to leave that as it is. Export. Oh, got to, okay, close. Maybe I'll just do current window, make life simpler. So export. So I'm exporting a PDF now. Now that PDF is going to be ready to print. That's the end of the tutorial.